You're seeing me because you're not giving yourself enough credit for how much you've grown. The universe has actually been showing you people who are like your equal and opposite, people who've been through the things that you've been through and made different choices, and they're showing you their life results. And what's great is that you have empathy for them, but you're not really understanding the lesson at play here, is that you also had the ability to make the same choices that they did, and you chose differently. That you chose to become a better person, you chose to evolve. And this is just to highlight how difficult it is to make good decisions or expansive decisions when you're in survival mode. You know, when you're focused on where you're going to sleep for the night or how you're going to eat, that kind of thing, day to day, or not having enough money to make rent, that kind of thing. Those like poverty, the kind of stresses that really weigh on you and don't really allow you to see the bigger picture or see the world at large because you're so focused on keeping yourself alive from day to day, that throughout that struggle, you became a more expansive person, that you went and you found the tools to become a better person. And this is to highlight that there are people out there who have never missed a meal in their life, who've never had to worry about housing struggles, all of what have you, who've had like a supportive background, who don't ever like reflect in the ways that you do of how do I become a better person, all of that stuff, and that you chose to do that anyway. You had a lot of things stacked against you and you still chose to be a better person. And you are sitting as the evolved version of you today, and you're looking back on the version of you then, and you're like questioning it. And you're saying like, oh, well, I could have done this better and I wish I didn't act like this. For a lot of you, you didn't even have a foundation to begin with. Your caregivers, guardians, what have you, only serve to like traumatize you, or they set you up. They didn't give you a roadmap to the future. It was to keep you on their level, if not worse. A lot of them were here to tear you down, to keep you at status quo, again, if not worse. A lot of them saw what you had inside of you and didn't want you to go anywhere. If anything, they wanted to annihilate what you were so that you couldn't ever elevate. That you had that kind of beginning where you had to parent yourself and figure out these things for yourself. And maybe in the course of things, you overcorrected and ended up being with the wrong people just on the opposite side of things. And that through all of this, you kept correcting to become the person that you are today. And you're sitting here looking back on that person being like, well, if only I'd been smarter here, if I'd done this better. Interesting, I've got Dream World at the back of my deck. That you're sitting here judging yourself for being the person that got you to where you are today. So that's why you're seeing me, is that you're being a little too hard on yourself, because I love that this is at the back of my deck. This is a fortress with no windows or doors, and you have to use the power of your mind to get you there. This is saying that there is no visible way in. You just have to create it for yourself, and it's like having blind faith, believing. And that's kind of what your background was, is that there was essentially like no hope for you from your very start, is that a lot of people are put here and you were put all the way back here, and now you're somewhere like way out here. And it's a testament to who you are on the inside, and it's time to leave that judgmental piece of you behind. That this is like your next stage of growth, is to give that older version of you compassion, because that version of you found all of the tools to get you where you are today. That you're wondering, how can I do better? How can I serve the greater good more? That kind of thing. Is that you're looking to expand and be a better person, and you've got to understand that people who were born here don't even think like that. And this isn't like a judgmental thing, because we're all on our own path and everyone's set to do, you know, there's beauty in everything that exists, even if it doesn't make sense or even if it feels uncomfortable or unfair. But that this is just a testament to who you were put here to be. And that is why you didn't get the good setup to begin with, because there was so much inside of you that was taking you here. But this is your sign to give yourself a little more compassion. There's been a lot of inner child healing coming through that, this protector here, like, be nicer to yourself and like protect that older version of you who was literally fighting for their lives and still trying to be a better person. That to be in survival mode and still work to be a better person is an extremely rare feat. And you did that, and you are here as a better person, and you're sitting here as this better person looking back and being like, I could have done that better. I could have behaved better here. And it's like, you didn't even have those tools back then. That version of you got you to here, so just be grateful for them. No, they didn't do it right. Why would they? They had no tools. They had nothing. How could they do better if they didn't have the resources to be better. They went and found them so you could be here today. Just be grateful for them. Start sticking up for them. Yeah, release this need to like hurt yourself or hold yourself down. Or again, this like, I could have been better. I could have done this better. Because a lot of you are holding yourself back from your blessings because you're like, oh, well, you know, I did this in my past and I don't feel worthy of it. And it's like the start that you had to be where you are now is like a miracle. So yeah, you deserve your blessings. You deserve whatever good is coming for you. Like I said, blocking blessings with this victory card in reverse. That you do have something big. A lot of you can feel it in your energy. So if you've been feeling a lot of anxiety recently, that's what this is it's excitement. But there's that piece of you that doesn't feel worthy of it. There's a fated event that is meant to happen here for you, where you need to stand in your empowerment and also nurture yourself. That you're meant to get to this point where you have compassion for this older version of yourself. Oh, I love this. And have this emotional new beginning with this older version of you. You need to go back and sit with them because you've been deceiving yourself. This whole, like, I could have been better, I could have done better. Why would you say that to someone who was struggling the way they were? That if you met someone who was in the position that you were in, you would give them grace, but you're not giving it to yourself. So this is what's being asked of you right now, is to have this new emotional beginning with yourself and to give yourself grace for how far you've come and who you used to be, because that version of you got you here. And where you are now is miraculous, to say the least. And that the more compassion that you give yourself, the more you'll be able to help others and approach life from a more empathetic place. So if this resonates with you, let me know. All of my services are linked in my bio, and if you become a paid subscriber to my Substack, you get 20% off all of my Etsy readings in perpetuity. Thanks, guys.